Yo, what's up everybody, it's your boy, Elvious Void, coming in with a new series on the channel, which is What If Naruto Was Kokushibo. So I'm posting part 1 to this, like, right now, the video you're watching, but I will still continue with What If Naruto Was Michiro Tokutsu. So the reason I'm doing this is because a few people have been asking me for this specific what if, and I will be rolling out another one in 2 days after this one's posted, which is what if Naruto was Gyomei's reincarnation. So yeah, so it'll be in a 2-day, like the same type of thing I've been doing this entire time, which is every 2 days it'll be a new post. So today is Kokushibo, 2 days it will be Gyomei, and then again it will recycle back to Michiro. So yeah, let's just get right into this video. So before we get into this video, there's a few things I need to go over. For people who haven't read the Demon Slayer manga, please click off this video and read it. It's a great story, and then come back to this video once you're done. But if you already have read the manga, you already know who Kokushibo is. Kokushibo is the strongest demon, aside from Muzan, the progenitor, and he has the most amount of Muzan's blood in his system. He is also a demon who is able to use breathing styles, and that would be the breath of the moon, which is a derivative of the breath of the sun. Kokushibo's original name was Michikatsu Sugekuni, who is the brother of Yorichi, and that's a pretty cool thing to know, with the sun and moon type of situation that they have there. So yeah, a few things that we need to go over for Kokushibo is the Demon Slayer mark. We'll be getting into that later, but you'll see how I'm going to implement that into the what if. There's also a few things that are different as well. Kokushibo's demon blood art, it is, some people think that Kokushibo's breathing style, which is the breath of the moon, is what actually shows the crescent moons. That is actually wrong. The demon blood art is those crescent moons. The moon breathing is just the style, and we know from all the other videos and stuff that give proof that all the Demon Slayer's breathing arts, they aren't actually the willing in those type of elements into the world. They are just for, you know, looks in for the manga and anime. So the demon blood art is the crescent moon blades that Kokushibo can summon basically all over using his breathing style, as well as summon them in a fight and control them manually. And he can also make a sword out of his own flesh, which is incredibly powerful, and if it is ever cut or damaged, it will be able to regenerate at the same type of speed that he can regenerate with his body. There's also a few other things, that there are also 16 forms of the Breath of the Moon, but only 14 of those forms, I'm pretty sure, were shown in the manga. So yeah, let's just get right into this what if right now. We start off this video with the ending of Kokushibo in the Demon Slayer manga, with Kokushibo then being decapitated and stopping his regeneration after seeing his reflection in Sanemi's sword. Seeing how he became a monster and not a samurai, which he wanted to be. He wanted to be better than his brother, but seeing how much he strayed from the path of the samurai, he decided to stop regenerating and fully die. But before he died, he saw the ghost or the spirit of his brother, Yorichi, and he started to cry. Everything faded to black for Kokushibo, but suddenly a blast of white appeared all around him, and he met with a figure who had no face but was an entity which seemed godly. This was known as Kami. Kokushibo would look around and ask Kami, "What am I doing here? Aren't I supposed to be going to hell?" Kami would reply saying, "No, I've looked through your entire life as a demon and human and decided to reincarnate you into someone else, a prophecy in another world. You'll keep all your powers originally, but your memory will be wiped, and everything that you had learned at this point will be transferred into someone else in another world." With Kokushibo asking Kami again why he's got the privilege to reincarnate if he was a demon and did so many horrific things in his life, in which Kami would reply saying he is very strong and can make a great and massive deal in another world if he has chosen the right path. And he's telling, tells Kokushibo that he will be reincarnated into someone with a heart of pure gold and love and kindness, much like his brother, and will be pretty much a prodigy. And we know that that's pretty much Naruto in the series Naruto. So yeah, with that being done, Kami snaps his finger, and the last thing that Kokushibo sees is Kami, and by his side, his brother in his child form. We skip now to the Nine Tails attack in Konoha, or the night of the Nine Tails attack, with Kushina, who is pregnant, then giving birth to Naruto. Naruto, as a baby, he comes out of the womb, but there's something different about him. Naruto doesn't have his signature blonde hair, but instead black with red tips at the end. I'm pretty sure Kokushibo has like red tips. And his eyes, he doesn't have 6 eyes like Kokushibo, but their blood, the scurilla of the eyes are blood red, and he has yellow pupils with writing in them saying Upper Moon 1. Naruto will keep these type of figures, and Minato, as well as all the other nurses and doctors there, would assume that this could be a Kikigenkai or dojutsu that Minato's family had brought down, as Kushina's family, the Uzumakis, didn't have such a clan Kikigenkai as a dojutsu, but instead those chains, chakra chains, adamantium chains, that come with the result of the strong chakra that the Uzumakis have. With Obito playing the role of Madara, coming into the off-site location where Kushina was giving birth, he would murder all the other nurses, in which that would include the third Hokage's wife, and would take Naruto hostage, who was, just a basic baby, as Kokushibo's memories were wiped and he was just there now. With the same thing happening as the original, Minato would save Naruto from Obito's hand, and the building would explode, with instead of Kushina going with Minato wouldn't be able to save her, and Obito would take Kushina, leading her to the extraction site where he was preparing to extract the Nine Tails and put it into a pact with him, using his Sharingan to cast a Genjutsu on the Nine Tails. The Nine Tails was ripped out of Kushina, and Kushina would be on the floor, nearing death at this time. With Minato saving Naruto, he could tell that Naruto was his son, that his grandfather, that we'll change it, that Minato isn't an orphan in like the original, I'm pretty sure, but instead came from a prominent clan, which is the Namikaze. He would know that this is a type of Kikigenkai of the family, which we will get into later in the story. But he also knows that his grandfather had also had this dark black hair with red tips from his, which would probably be from Kushina. And he knows all this and decides that he needs to protect the village from the Nine Tails, seeing that it was summoned into the middle of the village and is destroying the village and killing a lot of people. With Minato knowing what he has to do, he would take the baby Naruto and flying Raijin back to where he placed a seal on Kushina and see that the Nine Tails has been ripped out of her, as he already knows that it's already attacking the village. With Kushina telling Minato that they need to help the village and stop the Nine Tails, she would say that she would just take the Nine Tails down with them, with her dying, and to raise and for Minato to raise their son. With Minato wanting the Nine Tails to still be in the village's grasp and have its power to protect the village as a deterrent, he would tell Kushina that he can't do that, and that he needs to seal the Nine Tails inside of Naruto. With the same mishap happening, Minato would summon Gababuta and would help restrain the Nine Tails, with Kushina also using her Uzumaki chains to bind the Nine Tails down, and would seal half of the Nine Tails inside of himself, using the Death Reaper seal. With the third Hokage watching this all, with his 2 Jonin, I think they were Chunin at this time, guards watching in awe of the demonstration of power that is happening right in front of them. With Minato then sealing another half of the Nine Tails in Naruto, the Nine Tails would be gone, and Minato, as well as Kushina, would pass away. With the now orphan Naruto, the barrier that has been surrounding them would fall, and the third Hokage would find Naruto, pick him up, and seeing that Naruto's eyes are a type of they're red with yellow irises. We're seeing that this is definitely a trait of Minato's clan. He would take the boy in and would try to explain to the council that this is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and that these markings aren't actually from the Nine-Tails, but instead a Kikagenkai from the boy's heritage. With a lot of the Shinobi Council saying that they should keep the boy, and even if he is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, he is still from a clan, but Minato wouldn't tell them what clan he's from, but instead would tell them that he is from a prominent clan, but he doesn't know the heritage or the parents of where this boy came from. Instead, with the civilian council, this is after a few days by the way, the civilian council would yell at the Hokage to kill the boy, to kill the Nine-Tails before it gets enough power in the boy, as they believe that the child that is in front of them sleeping is the host of the Nine-Tails, and some of them even believe that he is the Nine-Tails himself, as he does have a demonic type of figure with his eyes and also his aura as a baby. It's crazy. It feels definitely demonic, and Hiruzen would put this onto the Nine-Tails chakra and the sealing, which may have been botched, but after Jiraiya coming back to the village and seeing Naruto, as well as checking on the seal, he could tell that this is not actually from the Nine-Tails, but instead it's Naruto's natural chakra, which seems to be a lot different to everybody else's. And this is because Naruto is in fact a demon. With Naruto then being put into an orphanage, for the next 4 years, a lot of the other children in the orphanage would distance themselves from Naruto, as Naruto to them seemed very scary, but Naruto, he is still the kind-hearted child that he usually is, and would always try to make friends with everyone. But even the orphanage, the people in charge of the orphanage and the kids himself are terrified as Naruto's eyes aren't natural, and they literally have the kanji for Upper Moon 1, which does frighten them a lot. With Naruto during these 4 years, he would decide that he wants to, become a shinobi after, saving Hinata from those 2 bullies. And Hinata during this, also after Naruto saves her from the 2 bullies, would realize that Naruto is just like her. After being bullied for something like her eyes, she would start to have a massive crush on Naruto. Instead of the regular admiration, it would be born into a whole full-blown crush, as well as the admiration that she normally has for Naruto, like in the original. With Naruto in his 5th year in the orphanage people in charge of the orphanage would tell the Hokage that they're kicking the boy out, as he's freaking out all the other children in the orphanage, and that he needs to go, as these kids aren't able to sleep well, fearing that Naruto would probably come to them. Even though they have no knowledge that Naruto is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, they're still terrified of his eyes. On his 5th birthday, when Naruto is now being kicked out of the orphanage, Danzo would think that this is the perfect time to reveal Naruto being the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki to everyone in the village. With the civilian council not having told everyone, unlike the original, Danzo would come in, telling everybody that Naruto is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and the citizens, not understanding seals completely, would believe that Naruto is just the Nine-Tails itself, and that the sealing jutsu was just to make sure that he was the host of the Nine-Tails, to keep its power. But because of the 4th Hokage's seal, the power was locked away, and these eyes, as well as the demeanor of Naruto, is the Nine-Tails' actual personality. With everyone now coming to fear and hate Naruto, he would be pushed off from the village and isolated from everybody. With Naruto being isolated, lonely, and pretty much depressed, he would decide that he wants to put all this effort into training, and he wants to become the strongest, so that nobody can ever push him around, ignore him, or isolate him. That if he becomes stronger, then everyone would like him, like how he sees other ninja of the village, and how much respect they have towards from everybody in the village, unlike the civilians and such. Naruto's clothing would be a lot different to what it is in the original. With instead of Naruto having his normal orange clothing, his tracksuit pants and tracksuit top, and his white shirt, he would instead have a purple and I think it's purple and black hexagon, I think it's a hexagon pattern kimono constantly on, as well as the regular shinobi sandals and nice fitted black pants. Naruto would start to train in the ninja arts, realizing that he has unlocked chakra, and then his body feels a lot lighter when he circulates the chakra all around him. There's also something that would change with Naruto's actual physiologic, it's just physical complex and stuff like that. Naruto, day by day, would actually start to get his regular powers of Kokushibo back into his body, and because of the slowly weaning of the powers, he would start to get an immunity to the sun, and after a few years of, after a year of constantly training and having his natural chakra coat him constantly, he would start to have a full immunity to the sun. With him also having his massive increase in strength, sight, and all his natural physical abilities, he would be an absolute unit compared to everybody else of his age, being at the age of 6, being able to compete physically with tunings, but still doesn't have the mind and skill of a tuning, but only the strength as a 6-year-old. With Naruto being an absolute, he'd be a prodigy in this, not an absolute prodigy, but he'd still be a prodigy, like what Kokushibo is in Demon Slayer. Naruto, with his eyes, would be able to perceive everything in slow motion, and would be able to start to manipulate his flesh in a way that the third Hokage thinks that this is part of the Dojutsu or Kikigenkai of the Namikaze clan. With Naruto being able to manipulate his flesh, he's able to manipulate a sword to come out of him, and he's able to create a sword out of his flesh, with the blade being black and red. I think it looks like pinkish red, as well as a whole bunch of eyes on it, which would freak the third Hokage out, as well as all the other people that are watching, like the Anbu that are constantly watching over Naruto. With Naruto's constant increase of strength, Hiruzen would have knowledge of all the type of things that Naruto is doing. Naruto would not actually have to eat humans to gain strength, unlike Kokushibo, but instead, after rigorous training, his natural abilities of Kokushibo would start to come in. At the age of 7, Naruto's power, he would be extremely durable, being able to tank almost most blows, and even kunais at regular strength of a genin wouldn't be able to pierce his tough skin. He would also have immense regeneration, having an absolute unlimited amount of stamina. This is because the demonic physiological abilities that demons have, having the immense regeneration to be able to regenerate from almost anything. And because Naruto is immune to the sun, this means that Naruto, in a sense, cannot die from anything in the Naruto universe, except for, if Naruto's entire body is erased from existence, which I think a few jutsu could probably do that. At this time, Naruto, he would also have immense speed and reflexes, being able to have the eyes and perceive things at the range of a 3 Tomoe Sharingan, which is fully mastered. Naruto would also have immense strength. His physical capabilities will be definitely irregular among his peers, being able to have the amount of strength now of a Jonin at the ripe age of 6 years old. He would also have an indomitable will, and before, like I mentioned, his chakra and his aura itself was menacing, as it seemed like he had overwhelming pressure that could be inflicted onto anybody at any certain time, which would definitely make anybody in the village, adults, children, and even ninja alike, terrified of Naruto's existence. Naruto would also be tactically intelligent for his age, being able to think of different battles strategies that if he was able to take over the village, he would think of an intelligent attack plan to do so. He also has, like I mentioned before, unlimited stamina and endurance, being able to do almost anything, trained for hours on end with no need to sleep at all. Hiruzen would find out about all these type of abilities that Naruto has, and would start to think that if Naruto is getting this strong this fast, that this must be because of the Kikigenkai that Naruto has, and would instruct different tunings and jonins to help him teach Naruto in perfecting these skills, as Naruto told his grandfather that he thinks that he's his grandfather, that he wants to become a ninja. And at the age of 7, after another year of training with these other Jonin and Chunin, the training would stop by them, and Naruto would be put into the academy with all the other original people, like in the original, that being Kiba and such. With Naruto having immense sensory abilities on his 7th year, being alive, he would sense that the life forms, or the people, the chakra, the life force of the people itself in the Uchiha district are slowly being cut down, and he can sense 2 massive amounts of chakra signatures wiping them all out. That would be, Obito as well as Itachi. He would go off and search to what is happening, as he can feel the amount of bloodlust that is coming off these people, that mainly being, like Obito, and the amount of sadness coming off the other one. With Naruto reaching to where this is all happening, he would sneak over the gates and see Itachi after massacring a whole bunch of Uchiha Jonin police force members, and Itachi would see Naruto, and not having the want to kill him, he would tell Naruto to leave, with Naruto telling him what he's doing. Itachi, who had watched over Naruto a few times as he was in Anbu under Hiruzen, who was also tasked with watching over Naruto a few times, would know that Naruto is immensely intelligent for his age, and knows about all the things that are happening right now, and he can't seem to trick the boy. With Itachi saying that he's killing all the Uchiha to test his power, Naruto could tell that he's lying, as Naruto can use through the see-through world, can look through all the blood vessels in Itachi's face, and can tell that Itachi is lying to him. Naruto would ask again what he's doing, as he knows he's lying. Itachi would be stunned at this, as being a trained Anbu, he is able to hide his emotions and is able to trick people who are definitely, a 7-year-old. He would definitely be able to trick a 7-year-old into believing that he's doing this, and he's just insane. But surprisingly, this boy is able to tell that he's lying with no signature of this being hard and difficult for him to tell. With Naruto saying that he won't tell anybody if he tells him the truth, as he just wants to know. Itachi would say that the Uchiha were planning to do a coup on the village, and then he's trying to kill them off to not start a fourth Shinobi War on all the other villages, as it would create a massive war and a lot of deaths and tragedies in the village. With Naruto saying that, yeah, that will probably happen, as Naruto going to the library and also being taught by the Chunins and Jonins, who didn't have any hate towards Naruto, but instead saw great promise in him, had taught him about all the other villages and the prospects of the Ukages, the rankings of ninjas, and a lot of the other stronger ninjas in other villages, as Naruto seemed to soak in all this information with ease, which also surprised them a lot. With Itachi seeing that Naruto doesn't seem to mind what's happening at all, he would ask Naruto if he can leave now, as he wants to carry on doing this mission. Naruto tells him that he can help him massacre the rest of the Uchihas, and Itachi would be absolutely horrified at what Naruto had just said, as Naruto, who, he still is Kokushibo, but he still has that kind-hearted attitude, and knows that he would rather sacrifice the little to save the more, with Itachi saying that there's no need, and he should get back to his house where the third Hokage had given him, and that he has someone helping him do this attack. He doesn't need any more help. With Naruto seeing that this is true, he would walk off, leaving the Uchiha compound, and Itachi would finish off, killing his father and his mother, and with Sasuke coming in, he would witness this, and activate his one Tomoe in his eyes, but because of the amount of trauma, he wouldn't be able to activate it again, like in the original. With Naruto heading back to his house, he would go there, and he would start to meditate on everything that he'd learned today, that the Uchiha clan were planning a massacre, and all the things that were happening in the village that he didn't actually know, and he wants to learn more. We'll now skip towards when Naruto is 10 years old. When Naruto is 10 years old, with the amount of strength that he had, it far surpassed a lot of Jonin, being able to with all the tutoring that the third Hokage had given him with the Chunin and Jonin, he's able to fight and defeat Jonin with ease at this point, being able to use his sword, and he would have developed different breathing styles. He had learned in different books of different type of jutsus and kenjutsus that used breathing styles, such as the breath of the sun, which was only used by one person over 1,000 years ago, in which they used chakra to manipulate the sword in a way to create powerful chakra constructions that would come off the blade itself and could do various things. Naruto would see sun breathing and decide that he could make a variant. If no one is able to learn it after trying himself, he would start to create a variant he would call moon breathing. With Naruto being now the first person to utilize breathing styles after 1,000 years, he would also be the first type of demon to do all this. With this breathing style in particular, he'd be one of the most dangerous and powerful people in the village at all times, as this enhanced his demon, being enhanced by his demon blood art, he'd be able to create many chaotic crescent moon blades when slashing, and with various lengths and size, and with each crescent shaped sword attack. With Naruto being able to continue to develop these breathing styles, he'd start to create dozens of techniques, and he would create 16 techniques, but we will only really use the 14 that were shown, as we don't know the other two, which was crazy that they said there was 16, but he only showed 4. Anyway, with the age of 10, Naruto would go into one of the, it's not his last years of canon academy, but Naruto would go forth and ask to graduate early. With the third Hokage knowing Naruto's strength, he would agree, telling Naruto that he can graduate now if he wanted to. Naruto, during all the academy years, would far surpass everyone in his class, which would be ticked off by Sasuke, as he was viewed by the village as an absolute prodigy of the Uchiha clan, and someone who would take over the Uchiha clan because of Itachi's defecting of the village, as well as, massacring his entire clan, leaving him the only loyal, not really loyal, but as he isn't the only loyal Uchiha to the village, but the only one that's in the village at this time. With Sasuke, who's constantly trying to catch up with Naruto, he wouldn't be able to, and would find an absolute, he'd be pissed off about this entire situation, as he's supposed to be a type of royalty, someone who was born to be strong, but Naruto, this orphaned loser who has weird and scary eyes and a scary demeanor, is far surpassing him in every single thing that he does, that being chakra control exercises, physical exercises, and the boy seems to have infinite stamina, which greatly confuses him, as he doesn't know anybody with infinite stamina, except for, the first Hokage, who was from the Senju clan, but he doesn't believe Naruto's from the Senju clan. He believes that Naruto, is just an orphaned loser that was, destined for nothing. With Naruto taking the final exam, he'd be able to perform all 3 of the jutsus, that being the clone jutsu, the transformation jutsu, and the swapping places one. I forgot what it's called, but that doesn't really matter, because he won't be using those type of techniques at all during his time as a ninja. With Naruto passing the Genin exam, there would be no real teams for him to go in at this point, as a lot of the ones were packed up during this time. After a week of having no teams to go in, Naruto would go on missions, just joining 3-member Genin teams, and would act as a 4th type of support leader, not support leader, but a support student of the Genin class, who didn't have to go through that bell test type of thing, but instead just joins the mission to gain experience. During another month of doing this, the leader, I think, of the samurai would come into the village in prospects of trading with the village. That would be Mifune from the Land of Iron. With Mifune coming to the village, he would also come in with a few samurai guards, and would talk to the Hokage in prospects of doing trading with the village for different type of weapons, for different type of protections for the Land of Iron. With Naruto, who after finishing a mission and going to the Hokage office, he would open the door and seeing Mifune, as well as the guards and Hiruzen, who, he would yell to Gigi saying that he's done with his mission and he wants to do something more difficult, as everything he's done so far is very boring and not fit for his skills as a samurai or a ninja. With Mifune seeing the sword on Naruto's hilt, he would ask Naruto if he is a Kenjutsu user of the village, with Naruto saying that he is. Mifune would ask the third Hokage who Naruto is, with him saying that Naruto is, just Naruto Uzumaki, and he's an orphan from the, the Nine Tails attack. Mifune can, as he is, a samurai from the land of iron. I believe he's, he's a Chad, honestly. He could tell that, Hiruzen is somewhat lying to him, as he's not being fully truthful of the entire situation. He asks of Naruto's heritage, in which Hiruzen would say that he doesn't know. Mifune would believe this to be true, as there's no real reason to doubt him, as he does have some doubt, but it's not really that big. And would ask Hiruzen if he could take the boy to the land of iron, as he seems to be wanting to be a samurai from his outfit and his demeanor. With Hiruzen, who is shocked by the sudden proposal, he would look towards Naruto, who has a type of glee on his face, as Mifune seems to be a samurai, and that's what he wants to be, a ninja samurai, who does missions, and is also, he's not going to use chakra in a way that normal ninjas do, but instead will use his sword and breathing styles. With the third Hokage immediately refusing, saying that Naruto is part of the village, and he's not going to go anywhere else, but Mifune would barter with, the third Hokage, saying that he could just come for a few years to train, as he seems to be really young for his age to be a shinobi, and in 3 years' time, he'll send Naruto back to be a genin of the village, and he just wants to, see if Naruto, his strength that he can see that is rolling off his aura, is true. With Naruto saying that he wants to do this, as he wants to learn more of the sword from Mifune, as there are not a lot of Kenjutsu users in the village. The third Hokage would agree to this, but the only way he would agree is if Mifune sends weekly information of what's happening with Naruto during all this time, as he tells Mifune that Naruto is like a grandson to him, like any other person, civilian of the, well, not really civilian, because he's not a civilian, any other ninja of the, not land of the, it's the village hidden in the leaves. With Naruto agreeing to this, he would go off with Mifune and the two samurai, and would go off to the land of iron. It would be like a week-long trip, with Naruto then coming into the village. We'll now skip, 3 years of the training in there. During this time, Naruto would have a mark appear on him, which would be the Demon Slayer mark. After training with his sword for so long, he would master all of his breathing techniques, and in conjunction with his demon blood art, which is, the crescent moon blades, he'd be able to be an absolute unit in everything that he does, being able to cut down on the training dummies in less than a macrosecond, being so fast that everyone in the village, including Mifune, can't see his sword slashes. It would be an absolute blur in a flurry of slashes that Naruto does. Naruto wouldn't really have to hide his strength all the time, and be able to train almost 24/7, as Naruto doesn't have the need to sleep, and only has the need to eat only a few times. As he is a demon, I don't think demons even need to eat at all, but, yeah, I don't think demons even need to eat, so he wouldn't really need to eat at all. I guess he would just be training 24/7 all this time, and would get a few techniques and different stances and all this type of training from the strong samurai of the land of iron. With, that all happening, Naruto will be sent off back to the village at the ripe old age of 13, and during this time, because Naruto's eyes, are scary, but because, the samurai, they're all chads, they wouldn't be terrified of Naruto and would have steeled their nerves, and Naruto would start to have much better relationships with the land of iron, and would start to make friends in the village of all the kids there and all the parents there, as they didn't have any information that Naruto was the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, so he would have a much better time than he would in the village. with Naruto, and then telling his goodbyes to the village chief, that being Mifune, and all that biz, he would go back to the land of fire, going back to Konoha and entering the gates. So this is where I'm going to leave this what if. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please hit that like button and subscribe button if you did enjoy this, do all that stuff. In 2 days I'll be posting what if Naruto was Gyome, it's Reincarnation. So yeah, I'll post that in 2 days. So if you enjoyed that, I'll see you later.